phytoremediation, which is a plant-based method to treat wastewater. So we've tried this in independent houses to manufacturing units to schools to different places. Even on lakes where we've just plants to certain specific plants to grow, which have given a lot of improvement in the water quality. So it is not away from farming. In fact, it is very linked with farming, but water being a crisis situation today, we thought that it will be good to touch on natural methods, affordable methods, which are easy from a home to a big industry. So before going into phytoremediation, what it is and how we go about and how it is done. A story so far, we wanted to try organic farming as we have our farm midway, Chennai, Pondicherry. That's where I live. We started in 1995, and let me tell you, till 2010, we didn't even reach a break-even, nowhere near break-even. Actually, we sunk in all our money into it. So 2000, as the time flies, okay, we thought, okay, like everybody, most of us think organic farming is about not using chemicals. So that's what we also did. So why didn't anything work? So as a family, me, my wife, later my daughter, we took ourselves across different parts of this country, different countries, trying to look at other farms who are doing good, who are doing well, who are not doing well, what is the intervention they are bringing. So around 2008, 2009, we started hearing the word sustainable farming. We started hearing the word sustainable management of natural resources. So back into farming, we really didn't know where to start. What are we talking about? How can I sustainably manage natural resources? I'm not using any chemicals at all. So during this journey, by the virtue of being here for a long time, we started visiting the different festivals in the villages here. At homes, at temples, functions. And we started noticing a lot of things which actually related to sustainability. Mainly what we saw was the food that was served during different occasions, the native food. So we started wondering, okay, what is it that is there that we are missing? So let us look at this food more. Where is it coming from? These festivals, these functions in this geography used to grow food, which is used back into their festivals and other functions at their temples, at their home, everything. So we started mapping. Now we are in the month, in Tamil, this month is called as Alladi, the month of sowing. So Alladi, if you're from Chennai, you would see a lot of ragi porridges being served. So we realized that ragi porridge is served around this time because this is what was harvested during the season. So things started becoming more simpler, more interesting. Similarly, we started looking at different seasons, and we had a few school kids. We just made a chart of different Tamil month names, marked it with English month names, and went around and started asking people in temples and marriages and betrothals and various functions. And we found that it was farmer and food, when it comes together, is actually when festivals came up. So olden days, there were no gadgets, there were no internet, there were no big logistic support. So how do they celebrate? Harvest is what they celebrate, the different harvests. So this month is like it's known for ragi porridge, like Dasara in South, it's known as Navaratri. It is Navadanya, the 9 variety of pulses and grains and chana dal that you use. So because that was harvested during that period. Chaturthi, sesame. We started putting these things together, and surprisingly, we came up with a list of around 1,340 varieties. So this started making a lot of sense to us, and we started putting these crops. We first thought, okay, let us enter the kitchen and see the basic items that are there, the traditional items that are there for day-to-day use. and what can be grown in this climate. We realized that taking the vegetables, fruits, herbs, grains, millets, pulses, we shortlisted around 85 to 90 varieties. We said, okay, let us grow this. And things started changing. That's when we understood that just like how we humans, it's not just possible for us to have just rice as our meal. We need our vegetables, we need our protein, we need our carbs, we need our fats. The soil also needs everything. We always look at taking it from the soil. We never look at giving back to the soil. So when we started having, if you see the picture over here, these are different kinds of greens, pulses. We have short-term crops, we have long-term crops. Uh, so it was very simple. It was like we never invented anything. We were on a discovery path. That's it. So we realized, okay, sustainable management of natural resources means it is traditionally doing it. This gave into a lot of other benefits, not just the soil health, but also water conservation. Like ragi was grown during between the month of March and April. The reason being, it is a crop which just needed, just an example, which needed around water, say once in a week or once in 10 days. When it's very hot, that to control evaporation in the soil, at the same time, need to keep the soil covered. So after taking the ragi, the plants started becoming the food for the cows. So like this, it was a natural evolution. And when we started doing this, we noticed that the rooting system from 6 inches, there was the rooting system from 6 inches till around 20 feet. So this started giving a lot of spores in the soil. Earthworms started coming up because it started having a lot of food on the topsoil. So that is its encouragement. One is the moisture, second one is the food that it gets, dried leaves, roots, shrubs, various things. So the earthworm started putting all these hundreds of holes. I believe an earthworm travels an average of around 22 feet to 150 feet a day. And when hundreds of earthworms started putting this, the runoff started becoming lesser. There was no absolute need of any ponds or wells or anything in the farm. Water started percolating. It started depositing itself in the various catchment areas on the subsoil level. So this is how our farming started. So this is a small story, and this started evolving from 2010. So we call this as a multi-layered and a multi-crop system. And like I told you, we believe biodiversity is bringing out everything that is possible, that is doable. And this gave a huge economic benefit. I'm not going to go with each point because I'm kind of touching everything during my talk. I will explain to you in totality so that the concept is better understood. So, two things. One is there were two kinds of economic benefits. One is the risk of a crop failure came down because if two crops didn't do well, there were other crops that kind of compensated. Crops started interacting with each other. There was a natural insect. We don't call insect as pest. We realized that when we, in our broke days, we realized that there were only two kinds of insects that are there. One, there is a vegetarian insect, another one is a non-vegetarian insect. So the vegetarian insect comes in, you need to wait, you need to be aram. Yes, you will lose some yield, but going down the line, there is a balance that comes up beautifully. It settles down. So one is the loss quotient started going down because earlier our organic farming was acres of paddy or acres of groundnut or acres of vegetables. But here it had everything. The second is we started going very close to the homemaker. At the moment, twice a week, we deliver whatever grows in our farm and around the villages here, which is grown organically, to nearly around 19 apartments in Chennai. So the revenue model blew. It actually went up. From And a small example is a coconut from a tree at a farm is paid around 8 rupees, but I get paid around 30 to 35 in Chennai with a distance of around 85 to 90 kilometers. So there was an exponential growth in revenue as well as reduction in losses. So there was a real good economic benefit that came out of this. So from this, what we started is we started moving out. We said, okay, let's go and talk this to other farmers, other organizations. By the time the pollution control board also had come up, started coming up with stricter norms of environment greening. From a CSR activity, it started becoming more of a mandatory activity in terms of giving a better environment in work areas, especially polluting areas on one side. We saw that children were not really exposed to food. So we wanted to get into as many schools as possible, try to teach them. And one such exercise is what I'm going to show you here now. This is a school called Head Start, which is near Old Mahadevan Road, Chennai. So this effort was a one-year effort. We have a Facebook group called as Grow Your Own Food, which started with three of us, a friend of mine who sits in London, my wife and myself. And no advertisement, nothing. It's now grown to a group of around 130,000 members. We have the best and best of experts on farming and gardening over there who are homemakers who spend 24/7 with their plant. So these are people who come with jugaad solutions, which they have already tested. They'll say, okay, use sesame with garlic, chili, apply to this. So we have a very vibrant online community. Because of COVID, our meetings have gone down. Otherwise, normally across the globe, every month, around 40 to 60 meetings happen without any formal registration or planning. Like people come together, they exchange seeds, they exchange produce, they have a chat, they have a chai, they have a few samosas, go back home. So I will send you the link for the group also where people can join. This is with respect to the terrace gardening part of it. So this is how we started, and we never planned anything. One led to another. Somebody would come and ask, "Hey, is this possible?" So every time I would say, "Is anything with related to nature? I just need two things. I need this. I need sun on top of us and soil below us and water. If you can fulfill this, we can try anything." And according to us, they'll ask us, "Should we redo soil?" According to us, all soil is good soil. All our leaders were in respect of soil. Nobody discriminated soil. Just go local. If that is the soil there and whatever grows locally, adapt to it. So now coming to water, the reason why I took to water is this is a picture I saw on the internet in Hindu. This girl travels for that can of water. She travels one way of 18 kilometers. This was in Rajasthan, between Udaipur and Kakroli. So 18 kilometers for a can of water. That is, she brings 2 cans of water and her day is over. No education, nothing. This is their summer. So let us just think 93% of our water is wasted. It goes into cooking, it goes into toilet, so many things. What is the quantity? For every 100 liters of water that you pump into your water tank every day, how many liters of water do you drink as a family? So there's already a huge quantum that is lying idle over there, and we don't know what is happening to it, and it is getting ruined. And this is something which we can make it as a very big opportunity. A wasted water can be taken back. Australia uses a part of their treated water back into their homes for drinking. There was a huge turmoil, and finally, after a lot of tests, people accepted. They have a choice. to take it or not to take it. So nations are, we have the natural resource with us. We have the sunlight, we have the soil. We're not doing anything about it. So I came across phytoremediation at CII GBC. Much a lot of people would be knowing Shri Raghupati SRP. So when he came to our farm the first time, he suggested that I need to get into phytoremediation and start giving it to people. So we realized that water. So this process is called as phytoremediation. The objective of phytoremediation, seriously, net zero water use I've taken is because of the word used today. Otherwise, anyway, it does that. So much of wasted meter boards and urea and membranes if it's an RO. So much of released wastewater. We are trying to improve the efficiency of the released water from an RO, but still it's a wastewater. From 1:6, they say it's gone to 1:4. There's no say 1:2 or whatever. But on the other side, to do that, the cost of membrane, the cost of labor, the cost of other things starts going up. So phytoremediation, phyto they say is in Greek it is plant, and remediation is restoration, bring it back. So phytoremediation is not only done for water, it is done for soils, it's done for huge lands. Like after Hiroshima, Nagasaki, phytoremediation with plants was one of the major way to remove a lot of toxic from the soil. But it had to go for several decades to bring it there. So phytoremediation can be used. We have tried for toilet, kitchen, effluent. I'm not going to give you saying this is an alternate solution for you to bring down cost, but I'm going to give you a solution which can work parallelly, tested over a period of time. So going down the presentation, you would know where you are and how small or big you can start with. So this is a model that a real case study. I didn't want to take a approximation. This is the model that exists at the IGBC, CII IGBC campus in Hyderabad. They already had a sewage tank with around 5,000 liters, which was moved to a sump which was 1,000 liters. With a small 0.5 horsepower pump, it's moved up into what is called as a filtration pond. The filtration pond is nothing but a few variety of plants that grows on the sewage water. So these plants absorb what we call as the toxic part of the sewage water to a great extent. Then it moves to what is known as a polishing pond. It's again, these plants, there are close around 230 plus varieties of plants we have identified. Again, we go by the geography, the constitution of sewage water, the constitution of effluent, the constitution of kitchen water. It may be a non-vegetarian kitchen, it will be a vegetarian kitchen. It may be a public utility where both can come mixed up in bulk. So from the polishing pond, the treated water moves out. So this is the simple process, a block diagram of phytoremediation. Like you see, there are no aerators, there are no fans, there are no RO systems, there are no membranes, nothing. We have been able to bring down, just for an example, we have been able to bring down TDS of effluent in an apparel industry from 16,000 to close to around 1,400 plus, 1,450. We have had very good results. So this is a simple block diagram of how phytoremediation works. So we normally say, let's have two phases. Like anybody would want to know what results would come in their environment. So let's not have a huge investment. The testing can be done with a few thousands. So first is the testing phase. We call this as a bubble top model. This is around, this was started on 17th of July in a corrugated packaging industry in Oragadam, Sri Paramattur near Chennai. So if you see, the first can has the sewage water in it. After 24 hours, this is the water color improvement that has come on the second level. So we normally say you have to go with the bubble top model first, because based on, like I said earlier, based on your sewage percentage, based on your canteen water, whether it's mixed together, based on your effluent levels, different chemical levels, it is better to test what is apt for your environment, and then go ahead with the implementing phase. So this is the IGBC phytoremediation. This is their STP. I'm sure a lot of people would have seen. This is their STP. Like I said, this is their first treatment pond. Next is the polishing pond, and then they have their storage here. This is the water that goes back into their toilets. They don't use it in their food area, canteen or cafeteria, but it goes back into their toilets fully, and their complete garden uses this. So what started as a sewage treatment plant has now become a butterfly park, and during lunchtime, people gather around here. In the evenings, they sit around here, have some chai, snacks, and that's how they spend time around. Yeah. So a simple comparison between a conventional STP, ETP, and phytoremediation, like you can see from the infrastructure to the overall cost. So once it is established over here, there is no human intervention. Whoever is taking care of your garden or your landscape in your office or apartment, they take care of it. They need to make sure that water goes in at the right time, water comes out, test it once a day. From the treatment plant, from the polishing pond, and from the water that's come out, just check it and see whether it is going well. There is a very big cost advantage. Like earlier, let me take a reference of another presentation I saw over here with one Mr. Bennett from India Additives, I guess, and he said the cost per KL is around 45 rupees. So let us assume it's around, say, 100 KL a day. We are talking of around average of around 5,000 rupees of spending per day. Yes, lesser than what the government says, but 5,000 rupees is an average of around 1.5 lakh a month and around 18 lakh, a small unit, 18 lakhs a year. So if an organization wants to look at the cost revenue benefit, there is a direct cost revenue benefit. And as time goes by, power cost is the 45 rupees is going to keep increasing every day. It's not going to be the same 45 because the cost of power is going up, the cost of manpower is going up, cost of removing sludge sedimentation is going up, cost of chemicals are going up, inflation is hitting. So the overall benefits that are there with phytoremediation. The other day, Mr. Bennett said it cost him 45 rupees per KL for treatment. This is today's cost of power, today's cost of infrastructure, and today's cost of manpower and chemicals. And with the way the costs are going up with inflation spiraling up, we don't know what is going to be the cost per KL 5 years down the line, even if we take it as an STP. And rules are becoming more stronger day by day. You can't escape the pollution control board norms because they have a reason. You can't send even a drop of water outside your facility with manufacturing units. They are going to do the same with townships next. They're going to do the same with homes next. And that's the way to go about. How can the public sewer system take it? All our waste. We need to be more responsible. So just an indicative comparison between STP and phytoremediation. So the suggested solution is first we say go for a bubble top. See, we are STP can be installed in 24 hours to 45 hours, I believe. This will take around 1 to 2 months to settle down. We are talking about live plants over here. The plants have to settle down, their rooting system have to be fine, they have to start absorbing, they have to make it that, I'll say they have to make it as their home. Like you can't go to a new home and say, I don't know why I can't sleep the first night. The same way. So next is with the bubble top model, you decide on what is the ratio of sewage water to water, how do I change it with my system, how are the results coming, try it, test it, then move to a hybrid model. Even with the hybrid model, we say you have 100 KL, just take a part of, let's say around 10 KL or 5 KL or 20% or 25% to start it with phytoremediation. Do not eradicate the STP. Move it into phytoremediation and move it into the STP. The time that it goes into the STP will go down by around 80 to 90%. Even if you achieve 50%, 45 per KL comes down to 22.5, which itself is a big saving. So go for a hybrid system. Then based on phase 2 and phase 1 results also, slowly start reducing the capacity of STP and increase the phytoremediation capacity. You can just add tanks to it, that's it. There is no rocket science behind this. Once you know the model, you can start adding tanks to it. We anyway need an STP and an ETP for the reason being, during rainy seasons, this is an open tank. So during rainy seasons, there will be overflow of water. So during rainy season, those 60 days or 60 days to 90 days a year, the STP has to run. You cannot fill this up with sewage water, but it will become an overflow and it will become messy. So have a small valve system which moves it to the STP when required. And when capacity suddenly goes up, for some reason the plant says, today I'm not willing to eat, we do it. One of days we follow an Ekadasi where we say we'll fast. Plants can also do that. You say it's too much food for me, I want to stop it for a few days. So have the STP. I'm not asking us to close down anything. So in fact, I recommend this model to organizations that have an STP and ETP already, because there is a direct impact for them. And Pollution Control Board has not set any clear norms of having phytoremediation as a recognized practice. Pollution Control Board as of now says the quality of water determines whether you can take it for a release for your garden or with your campus or for drinking or whatever. So it's the officer. The officer does not like the plants. He can say, no, I need an STP. So it's good for existing organizations which have an STP to try this and go ahead. And a simple calculation, for every KL of water, you need an average of around 80 to 90 square feet. Again, this is an approximation. This optimization is based on the level of the contaminated water. It can go down, it can go up, but we need to test it. So we are talking about a 500, 1,000 apartment township, and we are talking of an average of 100 liters per day. So we are talking of 10,000, 1 lakh liters, around 100 kL. And the beauty is, it's need not be a square or a rectangle or a circle or anything. Around the walls, I can fix this and keep going. It can be a beautiful decorative piece over there with nature around. So this is the advantage of having this kind of a model. So applications, like I said, from an independent home which has just one toilet, they can have 2 bubble tops and be done with it. For domestic sewage, for rivers or lake restorations, to landscapes, to wherever you find wastewater. So just imagine, out of 93%, after treatment, the recovery is anywhere between 80 to 90%. the water recovery. No zero sludge formation, absolutely no sludge formation. Once it has settled. Till it has settled, yes, there will be a sludge formation. There needs to be a wash off till the plant root system settles. So this is a small presentation. This is a small view of our farm, top view of our farm. People can note down my phone number. All of you are welcome to visit us whenever you're coming this side. Through the year now, we grow around 1,000 varieties of different crops. We work on a lot of sustainable initiatives with especially women. We believe in working with women, which people are interested. I can have discussions and tell them, like, we make grow bags using bananas. We create herb gardens, edible herb landscapes. So this is in brief what we do.
Thank you.